minute. It's a 15-minute. Let's watch this too. Why the odds of the the history of the March Madness bracket? Let's watch this one first.
Brackets.
Nevada, thanks for
Okay.
nothing.
The two are practically synonymous.
Never pick a team because you live somewhere, America.
But where did brackets come from? How has the NCAA tournament bracket evolved, and when did the tradition of filling them out start?
Let's
To
see.
answer
Let's
those
see.
questions, we'll have to go back to 1851.
Damn, it's that old?
In the
Oh,
wake
it's just
of the
that's from
Industrial
England. Okay,
Revolution,
okay,
The
okay.
United Kingdom wanted to show off its latest innovations in technology, design, and culture. So they formed a royal society and organized the first ever World's Fair, calling it the Great Exhibition of the Works of Industry of All Nations.
Damn.
Or the Great Exhibition for short. The Great Exhibition was a huge success. There were 13,000 total exhibits.
This is the history of the bracket format and the NCAA adopted. Okay, got it. So pretty much they just took it from the British. I mean, hey, first time somebody steals from the British, not the British stealing from them.
From all over the world to see it, with an average of 43,000 visitors every day for over 5 months. Howard Staunton, a 41-year-old Englishman, saw the Great Exhibition as the perfect opportunity for some much-needed change to his favorite sport, chess. Staunton kind of liked chess, at one point calling it the most
filling out the March Madness bracket is a big deal here. Okay.
time ever invented. And he was also extremely influential.
A chess fan, I respect it. I respect the chess
one of
fans.
the world's best chess players at the time, and responsible for promoting the Staunton pattern of chess pieces that is still the required style for competition to this day. Chess itself was becoming much more popular in the 19th century, and with that popularity came a need for the standardization of rules and the desire, as Staunton put it, to test by actual conflict the just value of rival styles of chess strategy. In other words, who was the best chess player?
Pretty much was the best in the world, or
so,
England, or
Staunton
whatever.
established a committee and extended invitations to some of Europe's best players for the first ever international chess tournament. The tournament ended up with a field of 16 men. To whittle that group down to one winner, Staunton paired up each player for an opening round match.
Okay.
The losers of those 8 matches would be eliminated from contention, and the winners would be paired again.
Okay.
Because there was no official ranking of skill, and because this
random.
entire concept was fairly new, the pairs were not created by seeding, but rather by chance.
Chance?
Staunton chronicled this process in a book on the tournament.
What the fuck does he mean by chance?
8 white tickets and 8 yellow ones, numbered respectively 1 through 8, were put into the ballot box.
Oh, by just random.
Whoever drew number 1 of the white tickets had to play with the party who drew number 1 of the yellow.
Okay, random. Yeah, he could have just said randomly.
After the first round,
chance.
the surviving players drew
That's
tickets
crazy.
again for fresh adversaries, all the way to the
He meant randomly, okay.
The mode adopted for pairing the combatants will, it is
I mean, this is just like some high school stuff, bro. Like, put your name in a bucket and somebody just picks a random name.
bring the 2 best players in the tournament into collision for the chief prize. While the tournament was successful, the single elimination format with preset matchups proved a poor fit for chess competitions and was largely abandoned for round-robin play. But the format quickly spread to other sports, accompanied by a new nickname based on the visual similarities between the single elimination tournament's layout and a certain punctuation mark, a bracket. Now let's jump forward a few years, to 1939.
World War II type
The
shit.
inaugural National Invitational Tournament crowned a college basketball champion in 1938.
Damn, that was a good ass 3, no? That was a really good 3.
Ohio State coach Harold Olson urged the National Association of Basketball Coaches to follow suit and establish a postseason tournament of its own. 8 teams accepted invitations from the NABC that year. And what better way to take those 8 teams and get one champion than a single elimination tournament? The field was split into 2 halves, the East and the West. With the winner
So the conference side of the things, the West to East, has existed for since the beginning in the US. That's actually insane.
Region meeting at Northwestern's Patton Gymnasium for the first ever national championship, which Oregon won 46-33. The NCAA would take over the tournament in 1940, but they would keep the format virtually the same, with an 8-team field until 1951, when it expanded for the first of many times.
There are actually regions, not conferences in this case. I mean, here, but technically it's kind of the same thing, but I do get you. I get you. It's just regions, yeah. It's the west side and the east side regions.
And the most recent change came in 2011, when the first 4 was added. But while the bracket itself was firmly established as part of the NCAA tournament, bracket picking had yet to grow popular, for a few reasons. The tournament's bracket was pretty volatile through much of its first half-century, with the format and number of teams changing multiple times throughout, leading to some brackets that were far from user-friendly. For instance, in 1959, the tournament consisted of 23 teams, with 9 receiving first-round byes.
Wow.
That certainly limits the appeal
9
to
is
the casual
crazy.
fan.
9 out of 23.
What's more, in the 1960s and 70s, UCLA won 10 championships in a period of 12 years.
Holy.
There wasn't much thrill in picking a bracket when everyone knew who was going to win.
Who was going to win, exactly.
But in 1975, what would be UCLA's last championship of that run,
Damn.
the tournament expanded from a field of 25 to a much cleaner 32 teams.
Okay.
And in 1977, 88 people gathered at a Staten Island bar called Jody's Club Forest with a novel idea. After the field for the 1977 tournament was announced, each person would fill out a blank bracket predicting who would win every single game of the tournament.
Okay.
Points would be awarded for correct picks, with the value increasing in later rounds.
Okay.
And whoever had the most points at the end of the tournament would win the pool. They were onto something. By 2006, more than 150,000 people were filling out brackets at Jody's, with entries.
Loki, that sounds just like they're just betting, no? This like sounds like betting. Loki sounds like modern day just bets.
As far as Hawaii and Iraq. In the 90s,
gambling.
The adoption of the internet.
It is Loki a bit of gambling too.
Online bracket games. Now, every year, tens of millions of fans fill out brackets online.
Exactly.
And millions more keep it traditional with print brackets. And as those millions of fans fill out their brackets every March, though they may not know it, they have one man to thank. A 19th century Englishman who really...
Pretty similar to gambling, yes. I mean, it is gambling. If you put money to it, it is gambling. But, like, because you're just guessing and you don't necessarily know either than your personal, like, knowledge, and you don't really have any other idea to go from. But yeah, I get it. Like, he can say that you have to thank this guy, this British guy, for creating the system, but I feel like it's a system that it was gonna be created regardless of that guy. It's not based on one game though. It's a lot of games. Yeah, I do get that. Okay. What's this one? Why the odds of a perfect March Madness bracket are insane. Okay.
March Madness Grail.
Okay.
What are the odds of a perfect bracket in the NCAA tournament?
What are the odds? What are the odds?
Daniel
Absurd
Wilco did
odds.
some in-depth reporting for us and a lot of math. Here's what you need to know. The NCAA tournament has been around since 1939.
The way he threw that three is crazy, but he still made it.
To the Smithsonian, the first bracket pool started in a Staten Island bar in 1977.
Is it the bar that he was talking about before, right? The bar which saw on the last video?
8 people. Today, millions and millions of brackets are submitted each year.
Yeah,
and yet,
okay.
No one has ever.
So it's an actual valid story. It's not something that like it's contested. It actually did start from there. That's crazy. It started in a random ass bar. That's actually crazy.
3 games of an NCAA tournament correctly. But does that mean it'll never happen? Let's start with the popular answer. Yes, that's exactly what it means. The odds of a perfect bracket are 1 in 9.2 quintillion.
Wow.
That's wrong, and we'll get to why it's wrong in a minute. But first, let's explore what it means. Since 1985, every NCAA tournament has had virtually the same format. 64 teams playing in a single elimination tournament,
Okay.
consisting of
6 rounds. Okay.
Since only one team leaves the tournament undefeated as the champion, that gives us 63 games to predict in our brackets each year.
That's crazy.
How does this affect your odds? Let's look at a hypothetical. If every team had exactly 50-50 odds of winning any particular game in the tournament, then it would be fairly easy to calculate the odds of a perfect bracket.
I mean, it would, yeah.
To find the total possible bracket possibilities, we can take the number of outcomes for each game, 2, and multiply it by itself for the number of games in the tournament. For a bracket consisting of just a Final Four, 4 teams, 3 games to decide a championship, that's 2 to the 3rd power.
Yep.
2 times 2 times 2. A relatively easy 1 in 8 chance at a perfect bracket. But move to 8 teams, and all of a sudden, you're up against 1 in 128 odds. And that exponentially increases until we get to a bracket with 64 teams and
Which is
63
insane.
games. 2 to the 63rd power is 1 in 9.2 quintillion. Meaning there are...
And that's on a 50-50, by the way. That's on a 50-50. So realistically, that's on a... You either, like, win or lose without having any actual, like statistic, like, difference. But knowing that, like, the first city team is probably going to win against, like, the last city team by, like, a 90 to 10%. Like, these numbers change.
9.2 quintillion bracket.
These numbers do change a lot.
That's an impossibly large number to understand. In the order of super large numbers, quintillion, it goes like this: million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, and then quintillion. How big is 9.2 quintillion? There are approximately 7.5 quintillion grains of sand on the Earth. If I pick exactly 1 grain of sand from anywhere on the planet, your odds of guessing that exact grain correctly on your first attempt are better than picking a perfect bracket. Again, this is all if games
Fucking
have
ass math, bro.
50-50
I hate
odds,
math. I
which
hate
they
math.
don't. Basketball games are
I do
not
study physics, but I do hate
50-50
math.
Some teams
I feel like
are
it's
just
something that
better
goes
than
along.
others, and people use a wide variety of information that can give them a much better idea of who might win a game. Plus, there's just a certain level of chaos to March Madness. But let's say you simply use common sense and pick your brackets based on likely outcomes, as opposed to the coin flipping tactic. Thanks to picking data from millions of brackets in our bracket challenge game over the years,
Okay.
we've learned that the average user gets approximately 2/3 of all games correct.
Okay, that's actually
We
pretty
take
decent. I
that
expected
accuracy
way worse.
and expand it through the entire tournament. We get odds of 1 in 120 billion.
That's actually a
70 million
huge
times
difference.
more likely than if every game was a coin flip. But this does not mean anyone's getting a perfect bracket. If you were able to fill out a complete bracket every second of every day, it would take you a quick 3,813 years before you could create 120.2 billion unique brackets. All this might leave you feeling despondent, but in the 8 years that we've run a bracket game, the best we've ever seen is 55 correct picks of the 63
Wow.
games.
55
which
is a
happened 8
lot.
times in 2019. The same year, one person started his bracket with a record 49 straight correct picks.
Damn.
And fun fact, that bracket with the 49 for 49 start was not one of the ones that got to 55 correct picks.
Unlucky, unlucky.
Greg Nigel would only get 5 more correct over his final 14 games and finish with 54 correct picks. So a person that picked the first 49 games exactly right finished with 92 points. Good for only 240,668th place in the overall game standings. That's not odd. The brackets we track that stay perfect the longest don't end up winning. Because in order to have a perfect bracket early on, you have to take some pretty crazy risks, many of which can haunt you down the road. So yes, a perfect bracket is nearly impossible.
I mean, it is impossible.
But that shouldn't stop.
But let's be completely honest. You don't do math. Like she took the brackets like on a math type of basis, which I understand because you're trying to explain it. But it's not really a math type thing. You just brackets is like a personal conference or like a random ass white dude that says, "Yeah, bro, I know everything about baseball or whatever, not baseball, about the March Madness regardless." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, I know exactly what's gonna happen about every game. I know every team." You don't. Let's be honest, you don't. Nobody does. But it's those dumb ass white people that think they know everything. Anyway.